All right, we're gonna talk about the current state of SEO because I see a lot of you banking your entire business on SEO, not realizing that plumbers are different than excavation companies, different than electrician companies, different than, I don't know, dog boarding companies. So let's talk about SEO specifically through the lens of plumbers like you and why you need to change your perception of what was into the perception of what's going to push you forward in the future. Let's go now.
It's the Mammoth Plumber Podcast with Tyler Williams, the marketing man.
All right, so we're gonna talk about SEO today. This is gonna be a very somewhat impassioned conversation topic, and I will also probably challenge some of your existing beliefs around SEO. So for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Tyler Williams. I run an agency called Mammoth Marketing. So we do SEO and we do paid ads and we do all the stuff. And so this has given me a lot of perspective into the industry and I want to take you along the ride. So SEO in general is great, right? Everyone says work on your SEO and you will build a company. You will have the riches of the land if you work on your SEO. And in order to understand that, I think it's really, really, really important for you to take a trip back in time and understand, like, why does that perception even exist? Because what happens for us is we get clients who are looking at SEO as a factor of their marketing, as they should, but the way that it's weighted within all aspects of marketing, I think needs to change for key industries, plumbing being one of them, to be perfectly frank. So if you go backwards in time, you will need to rebuild why did the perception of SEO being a gold rush or the thing that drives you customers start? Well, when I first started advertising, we were doing print, radio, TV, and then we started to move into digital, right? Trying to get our clients to pull their budgets from traditional over to digital, honestly, it was like pulling teeth. They didn't want to do it. They didn't want to run Facebook ads. They didn't want to run Google ads. They didn't want to run, some of them didn't even want to work on their website at all. And they certainly weren't looking at their Google business listings and SEO rankings and things like that, as much as we might try and pull them for it. So over time, more and more became susceptible to saying yes to that because they started hearing, hey, I did SEO and holy cow, my business is booming. And that is a great place to be if you were there at that time. We are not in those days anymore. So what ended up happening is those budgets that were on traditional media outlets ended up leaving traditional media outlets to put forth on these platforms. So what does that mean? Like in the world of SEO, what does that mean? That means when you could just add pages to your website and rank like crazy, right? So you showed up first. That was a great time for SEO because it was almost like direct response marketing. But it was easy because there were fewer people on the platform. So rather than have, 50, you had 3 companies that were working on that as a given. So it was much easier to put forth the initiatives to rise in those rankings. There's no doubt about it. SEO has gotten harder. Now, the question is, what are we looking at today? So today, if you're a plumber, you are going to hear all across the internet, SEO is the thing. You gotta work on your SEO. You gotta work on your rankings. And I want you to make sure that yes, that is partially true. And for some of you, that may be completely true, but for the majority of you, that is not the only component of a true sound marketing landscape or a true sound marketing presence. Okay, so there are the outliers where all they did was work on their SEO, but you really do need to think about, well, what was their business like? Were they already established? Were they not already established? Are they tiny and they just needed a little lift and so it feels like a big lift, whereas you're big and you're trying to get even bigger and so even that lift feels like just a pittance, right? So there's all these like qualifying measures that are never talked about when people are like, look at what we did on this SEO, look at the things that we had happen. And that's usually not enough to actually give you the nuance of the entire story. So if you look at the SEO landscape now, what you have in a lot of markets are so many stinking plumbers. Okay, so this is one component of it. SEO, like any other form of advertising or marketing, you have only so much inventory. There are only so many people waking up every day and saying, I need a plumber near me, and boom, here are your SEO results. And it's important for you to realize that there's only so many of those results available. And I happened to collect some for you. So let's take a look at my iPad, and we will end up going into SEO land. So what we are going to see here is, give it time to start recording. Okay. What we are going to see as we take a look at this, we are going to see the rankings for a company. Okay. So I searched plumber near me. I'm currently in Eden Prairie, Minnesota, and you can get an idea of what this page looks like. And I want to show you what SEO is on this page versus what is paid ads. So what we're going to do is we're going to scroll down. We're going to pretend we're a user. Okay. So starting here, we are just looking at things. And then as I go, I am looking for things that are influenced by SEO. Okay. We have this 1, 2, 3. Sometimes you will see a sponsored ad show up here. This time we don't have it. Okay, looking for organic. Okay, so then we have 4 because of this one. And keep going down. Okay, now we have 5, 6, and okay, that was pretty much the bottom of the page. Now, 6 slots. Okay, that's what I am looking at. 6 possible spots that a plumber can actually show up on this SERP page. Now, let's zoom out. How much scrolling is that? Okay, that's how much scrolling there is. Now, what I want to do is let's count up the other spots, the things that are not companies like you. Let's change our color here. We're going to go in, and what are we going to see? We're going to see first, of course, we're going to see local service ads. Now, local service ads, Google's primary real estate. We've got 1, 2, 3. And then we have 1 here. And this is 4. And then we have, that's it. Okay. So that is the way this SERP page, this particular search shook out. This changes, by the way, depending on the market, depending on a lot of things. But right now, that's what we see. So what we have is you can see how Google is weighting advertising versus SEO. We also can see that we have 6 slots broken up by partnership deals, which I'm also going to mark in red. And I am making an assumption that these are partnership deals, okay? But if I were Google, that's what I would do. So with 3 and what did we had 4, so we're gonna go 5, we're gonna go 6, and we're gonna go 7, and home guide, yep. Anytime it's the 10 best plumbers, that means that there's a reason Google's putting that there. I have a feeling that I'm calling it partnership deals. It's a bit of a tinfoil hat idea, but that's there, okay. So now that is what we look at. Okay, so let's assume here that those partnership deals, that there actually are partnership deals. Okay, let's just assume, because Yelp has been so strong on these pages, as with Angie's and all these lead aggregators, I can't help but think that Google's got a reason to give them so much power versus actually giving their user more ability to click on somebody and get them. Okay, so what do we have if we were to say paid versus organic? And you can see how Google is prioritizing their page. Now, back when SEO was put out, this didn't look like this at all. You didn't have the LSA ads. You had the sponsored ads, sure. You didn't have the map pack until later. You didn't have all of these partnership deals. And basically, you ended up with 15 different spots that your company could end up possibly entering it. Now, this is a little bit of hearsay because I don't have a SERP page from that era on me. But if you take a look really carefully, now let's think about it from the user perspective. So going back in here, take a look at this. You're a middle-aged housewife. Put on that hat and let's have an experience together. Okay, I got a plumbing issue. Something's weird. I need to do something. First thing that I am going to be greeted with is local service ads. Now, local service ads give me just about all the information that I need. They give me reviews. They give me an immediate book now, an immediate call, and an immediate message button, though we don't have any here. They also have this really handy new button that some of you are freaking out about called Get Competitive Quotes. That is also here. So I have the ability to make choices right now. I also have this ability right here to just click and show me more, right? Most people aren't going to do that because looking at those top three, 903, 6.5, 11,000 reviews, I feel pretty confident that one of those guys is going to be able to take care of me. But let's just say I want to keep going. Okay, then we get into the sponsored results. Now at the sponsored results here, that's Dean's Home Services. Okay, maybe I will tap on that. I also have the map pack. Now I want you to look at the map pack. So some of you this is where most of the SEO clicks go. Most of the organic clicks now are on the map pack. That map pack has 3 spots. And the amount of plumbers that I have the ability to call is a lot more than that. In fact, I think I have a graphic here about it, showcasing. Well, I don't. Okay, we'll get to those graphics. But the thing for you to remember is that Google is not, under any circumstance, going to want you to have free traffic. They need that traffic to be paid. And if we zoom out and we take a look at this whole thing, we are looking at over 50% of the impressions on this, Google is likely making some form of money or traction from, and that's what they need. Now, why do they do this? That's because with LSA, which is taking away from SEO availability in a huge way, LSA allows them to control their own platform. You don't get ranked very well on SEO, you don't show, or on LSA, you don't show up on LSA unless you are doing the things that Google says is important for the user experience. You answer your phone on time, you mark the leads as booked, you give Google that sweet information in those info boxes on the back end of that platform, and you ask for reviews and you get reviews. That's what Google wants. Those are signals that your company is a good company and that you're going to treat the user of Google's platform well. And they need that user to think that they are serving them well because that's what they sell advertising against, right? If that user doesn't come back, then they lower the ability to send ads based on that particular user's behavior, okay? That is why Google is turning this entire page into a pay-to-play page. SEO can get you free leads, but why is it so different? And what's with this narrative that's going around all of the marketing spheres and everything? And how do we need to think about that? Because here's the biggest thing. SEO for plumbers is a lot different than SEO for other companies. I was talking to an agency that primarily goes after excavation companies, okay? And they were like, man, SEO is our jam. It is the thing that drives the needle straight out of the gate. And I was like, okay, well, how much competition does an excavation company have in any given market? I'm like, maybe 5 to 7, right? So now you're talking about, 5 to 7 people can show up in these one to 3 slots. Okay, you're nearing a 50% possibility if you have all your ducks in a row. But what about plumbing markets? Plumbing markets are often very, very different. Some of you are going to be in more rural areas where that is still true for you, and that's great. And that's why you should be thinking about SEO. But a lot of you are in medium to large size markets, and SEO is not going to behave the exact same as it does for a different industry. There's too much competition. Nobody is buying TV and radio at the same scale that they were, and they're all doing SEO. So it's extremely competitive. And then Google doesn't want you to have it for free, so you better believe they are most likely swapping you out and rotating results on purpose to make sure that you feel oh so incentivized to buy some of these ads that they keep selling us. Now, I don't like the model either. And maybe I don't like the way Google's running their business. but it's not my business to tell them how to run their business. It's just my business to help you understand how you need to help run the marketing of yours, right? So I want you to be aware that the age of SEO has changed dramatically over the past 5 years, and it's going to continue. Now you will have like AI and all these other things that are coming out, but they're all going to need the same signals, and you better believe that after an initial real quick start of a gold rush, they're not going to take as long as Google did to make these moves, and they're going to do them possibly right out of the gate. So one thing that we are hearing rumblings of is ChatGPT. Okay, should you rank on ChatGPT? Luckily, what the AI platforms need and what Google needs, very, very similar, right? Very similar, because they need the trust signals. Google's got the trust signals down. Everybody's following Google's model. There's not like some random ass trust signal out there that people need. So what's going to end up happening is they're going to say, all right, we need to know what pages do they have on the website? What's the content on those? What are their reviews? What is their social profile? Do they have any backlinks? All the normal SEO things. Cool, right? Because that means that you have less to worry about. However, the rumblings we've been hearing is ads are coming, and they're coming soon. So I would highly anticipate on these platforms that Google ends up, AI and ChatGPT end up selling these ads very, very soon. And at that point, well, you lose your edge no matter if you had it or not. Now, that doesn't mean like, hey, well, maybe it'd be nice to have an edge for a little bit. It's just be realistic about the ways business operates, right? Especially these tech companies. They're not going to sit around for this. So that is the nature of this entire platform when it comes to leads. Next time, I'm going to talk a little bit about how you actually rank on these things in order to get to the map pack, because it does hold some value. But a lot of you have a misconception on how this can be done. And there's just a lot of information out there. So I get it. It's tough to parse through all this stuff. And I want to help give you a solid info source on what all this means. So wrapping up here, I want to make sure that we summarize. If you are looking at SEO as the way to grow your company and you're not actually building out a proper marketing stack, then you are going to be in for a really rough time. I have had countless companies come to me being like, I signed up for this SEO company like a year ago and we went backwards. It's like, yeah, because the platform got even harder in the time that they were working on it, and you didn't build a brand and you didn't do any PPC like lead gen. So all you're doing is waiting for Google to give you a pittance of free traffic off of the platform when the demand is so much greater out there. But the user, the customers that you're trying to capture, they don't know you exist. That is a huge problem for a lot of companies who are plumbers, because marketing companies don't talk about the state of this enough. So anyway, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. I hope this is helpful. If you want us to take a look at your marketing, we'd be happy to. You can go to mammothforplumbers.com or tylerwilliams.net. Both places lead to a spot where you can sign up for a consult, and we'll walk you through some stuff. We'll analyze stuff with you on a call. We do tell you like, hey, here's our packages, but really we want to be helpful before we ever sell you. Anyway, you have a good one. Bye.
This is the Mammoth Plumber Podcast with Tyler Williams, the Mammoth Marketing Man. OMG, this is going to be great. La 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 la. This is a Mammoth Plumbing Podcast with Tyler Williams, the Mammoth Marketing Man. OMG, this is going to be great. This is the Mammoth Plumber Podcast with Tyler Williams, the Mammoth Marketing Man. OMG, this is going to be great. La 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 la. this is going to